So, in the last session, we were discussing and understanding the dispassion, and we discussed about attachment and detachment. So when we understand that attachment and detachment, then it is easy for us to go beyond that attachment and detachment. That results into dispassion. We have become so much habitual and mechanical, getting attached. But if you closely observe attachment or detachment, there is a sense of discomfort within me. I'm always at unease. I'm attached to the honey. My eyes goes there, where she goes, to whom she meets. Oh, she was laughing with that guy. I feel a sense of discomfort and unease only because I'm attached. Love makes you free. And before dispassion, we have understood discernment. That is very important. A clarity, understanding. We are given an intellect by the existence, and if we do not follow this understanding and clarity, this life is going to push you back with the discomfort, with this insecurity, with the fear, with the anxiety, with the duality and a conflict. So in that state, we cannot discover our real nature. That is our goal. That's why we are becoming a seeker. I think before that session, we understood that discernment gives you the right knowledge and dispassion triggers to change your behavior. So we bridge the gap between the knowledge and the behavior, and that changes our personality. And whatever is left, we take over by the 6 treasures. So right knowledge by discernment. So what happens as you practice inside your head during the day? That discernment settles your intellect. In the word, we use the word shreyas. What is right and good? I meet you, attachment comes, and now but the intellect is settled in the shreyas. Shreyas says what is right and good. So I move towards you with affection. One of the greatest masters, J. Krishnamurti, who is no more now, who used the word, am I responsible to you? So if you look into the meaning of responsibility in dictionary, it means to respond. And to respond means to move with affection, not with attachment. So now you have changed your behavior. Are you getting it? So Shreyas means what is right and good. And after that comes the dispassion. And when we live into that discernment and dispassion, no one can ever disturb you. That is one of the most precious gifts we get by these 2 steps. And it is a knowledge practice. You can do it all the time, everywhere, in all your relationship, in your business, in your personal life, in your professional life, in your social life. So that makes you helps you to become a seeker. Do you still remember when I said there is a simple inquiry and there is a self-inquiry? The self-inquiry with discernment helps me to eliminate those elements which causes fear, insecurity, duality, and a conflict. So, we should also understand this absence of dispassion leads to confusion. When there is a confusion, it means I know. That's why you say, I know, I understand, and still I am crying, I am suffering. So, big gap. So there is another issue that we should understand. First, understand what is happy self and unhappy self. You see that happy self, you wake up in the morning, you are fully busy, you have a lot of things to do. I don't know, Brandy, that was the natural topic today. What should I do? Now, Brandy told me I'm a little bit busy today. So you see that when I wake up in the morning, here comes Lara. So when I wake up in the morning, I wake up to the world outside. What my mind says, am I happy self or am I unhappy self? Are you understanding that? So now I'm unhappy self, then I have to do lot of things in my life to become happy self. Natural, we feel natural action. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So I am unhappy self. Why? Now first, we are applying the discernment. If you don't apply the discernment, you don't have a right knowledge, right understanding, and then the behavior will take over you. Habit will take over you. And what is the behavior and habit? We have been repeating it days after days, weeks after weeks, months after months, years after years, and expecting a different result. Did you understand? That is what the behavior is. So now understand, when I am unhappy self, what exactly I do to remove unhappy self. And that will give you a clarity. Example, oh, Lara has not been talking to me for a couple of weeks. Let me call her. She doesn't respond. She might be busy. No, example. Lara, this is only an example. So you see that? What I do, pay attention to it. Once you understand clearly what I do to remove unhappy self, whether my doing increases unhappiness or it really decreases. Are you getting it? Now we are going little deeper and deeper. Unhappy self. First thing, I have to do lot of things in my life. I have lot of thoughts in my mind. And they basically are concerned about, first thing, to earn something and to receive a pleasure from the world that will make me happy self. We forget everything. I believe I'm making you understand. So when there is an unhappy self, I want to excite myself. I want to escape myself from the reality, and I want to run in my life. That increases more and more of unhappy self. We don't pay attention to remove that unhappy self, but we find a different medium, maybe a wealth, maybe a food, maybe a drink, maybe buying something new to remove that unhappy self. But where is the unhappy self? Is it inside or outside? It is inside me. I cannot use any means and object to remove that unhappy self in me. Did you get it? So my focus should be to find out what is this unhappy self, and you will find out what you will find out. This mind is scattered in millions of directions to achieve, to possess, to own something outside, to remove the unhappy self. Find out in your life. Every day you will find this. Then you are not settled in yourself. The unhappy self continues. It continues to disturb. It creates a set pattern. It creates a behavior. And that behavior leads to attachment. What we were talking about dispassion. Dispassion is beyond attachment and detachment. Are you getting it? So absence of dispassion leads to unhappy self. That is the result. Absence of dispassion, we have already clearly understood. So, how you treat unhappy self? You wake up in the morning, you meet someone, you have certain thoughts, examine, be mindful, and check. Oh, it is because of absence of dispassion that there is an unhappy self in myself. That is how you express. Do you remember how you express? You have already expressed before me. Oh, today is a good morning. Today is a good day. You see, it is your behavior, absence of dispassion. Did the sun rise today in a different way than yesterday? It is the same thing. It is the unhappy self, that is why today is not a good day. So, the first thing to be very clear that unhappy self is within me. It cannot be removed. Now I have to go slowly. I have to change my expression so that you get the maximum with less explanation as we are becoming a seeker. Unhappy self is within me. I have to remove this unhappy self. Now, can you find out the cause of this unhappy self? The root cause is a sense of fear because I do not belong to you. And you do not belong to me. It may be an object or a person or a thing or in relationship, whatever you see. That belongingness creates a sense of owning and possessiveness. And that possessiveness in the mind leads to a set pattern of behavior. Go back again. I have to remove the unhappy self which is within me. It is due to some fear, some sense of insecurity, some sense of anxiety is there. And as long as this unhappy self lives with me, it is a clear indication that there is an absence of dispassion. And there is a sense of possessiveness. I want to make it clear, the sense of possessiveness. Do I possess the space in this room? Do you possess the space in your room? You cannot possess space. You cannot possess love. The moment you have a possessiveness, you have an attachment or detachment, and it creates an unhappy self. Love is like a space. Every student of my master used to say, a couple of them are here, used to say that my master loves me much more than you. Everyone, including me. Do you see the difference between non-possessiveness and love? So what happens? One of the most beautiful thing happens, that by the practice of dispassion, I become responsible. Responsible means to respond. To respond means to move with affection, not with attachment. You live in dispassion. And when you live in dispassion, the happy self reveals itself. Happy self reveals itself. That is the beauty. Look at the beautiful beauty of the learning. What happens then? The mind becomes pure, intellect becomes mature when we live and work in my personal, professional, social, family lives. And that begins the journey of the real self. Then it becomes easy to get absorbed into the state of meditation, and the happy self is within me. I find my happy self. So when the mind is not mature, leads to ignorance. Ignorance causes the suffering. Why the mind is not mature? Because it lives in passion. What is passion? A sense of possessiveness in my mind. So now another topic should be associated with it. So okay, what is the purpose of my life? Now see, every human being, the one purpose of life is to be active and to earn, for example, earn wealth, name, fame. That is what comes into the first category. So now I have earned wealth, name, and the fame. What is the second? To enjoy that what I have earned, a sense of pleasure. That is the second goal. That is the second goal. Third goal, we should always keep in mind that whatever the pleasure we enjoy and the wealth in the form of immovable, movable assets, prestige and recognition should be disciplined by ethics, the social law. So whatever you say, the moral law, that is why we teach yama and niyama in yoga. Those who are teachers, they are aware. So these are the three basic goals of human life. The moment you deviate from it means absence of dispassion. The moment you deviate from it, absence of discernment. The fourth goal is the prime goal. That is to get moksha, to get nirvana, or whatever I say, to discover your real nature. Why to discover my real nature? I have already answered. Do you remember? Do you love peace? Yes. Peace is my nature. Do I love happiness? Happiness is my nature. If I love happiness, if I don't love, then you are an extraordinary human being because you don't love happiness. You see, so the life existence indicates the final goal, the fourth goal. The purpose of the human life is to discover the self and allow that self to express in personal, professional, social, family lives. Why? Now the happy self is expressing everywhere. So we are not leaving anything like externally, but we are changing the perception with the right knowledge, that is discernment, followed by a dispassion, so that the knowledge and the behavior, they both bridge their gap. So now the behavior becomes the knowledge. That knowledge expresses in thought, speech, and action. Why we do that? We have already understood. I'm not going to repeat. Pleasure is temporary happiness. Mind is confused that happiness is outside. Do you remember the example of a mirror? Sun reflects the light into the room. Do you remember? So all pleasures from the world outside is nothing but a reflected happiness that is already present in me. Are you understanding that? We did talk about this. Let me recall for a minute and help you pick up that. I eat pasta, it gives me happiness. But on the other hand, I understand that the pasta does not contain an element of happiness. But the fact is, I enjoy, I feel the pleasure. So next question comes, from where the pleasure comes. So I gave an example of a mirror. You open your main door, the sun is there, you take a mirror and the sunlight, what happens? Sunlight reflects in the mirror and enters into your room, and you see the sunlight. You say that here is the sunlight, but the sunlight is not there. It is a reflected sunlight. Same way, the happiness in me is reflected in the pasta. That gives me happiness. That feels like that, as if the happiness is there in the pasta, the happiness is there in the object, happiness is there in the wealth, happiness is there in the house, happiness is there. But what is the catch here? That happiness depends on my attachment. And there comes the dispassion. What is that attachment? How do you say? You say, I like pasta, that's why I feel pleasure. What is liking? Liking is attachment. So in the attachment, you have missed. What did you miss? Dispassion. Did you get it? So see that entire journey to become a seeker is all about understanding understanding. Through the understanding and clarity, we change our behavior. The behavior is located in the mind, which is normally repetitive, habitual, instinctive, impulsive. It carries millions and millions of impressions. In Sanskrit, we talk about sanskaras, vasanas. So the pressure of the knowledge that is kept in the head, that is what the power of the discernment that gradually changes our behavior. An absence of passion makes us sure that happy self lies inside, and I must pursue this goal to find my real self, to live in permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. So do you leave people? Do you stop eating pasta? No. You have the resources, you can afford it, you eat pasta. But the discernment and dispassion is already present in the mind. It does not lead you to any kind of attachment. Even if you don't eat pasta today, you are still happy. You get a sense of independence. Do you see? What is independence is what the freedom is. Are you getting it? Look at it. How clear the understanding is. We miss these beautiful teachings of our great masters, and then we challenge these principles. We challenge yoga, we challenge meditation, that where it is. Conclusion is, then we will start. Happy self, is it outside? It is not outside. Why I feel outside? Because I am in passion. Why I am in passion? Because of my attachment and detachment. What is this? This leads me to ignorance. And then there is an absence of discernment. So you see that connect all the dots together. So when you connect all the dots together, the intellect always exerts the pressure while living day-to-day life. And when you live your life from moment to moment, that is one way to say that you are living in a present moment. Simply saying I live in the present moment, even though I have lot of stress, I am awfully busy, I live in the present. What it means? I'm not opening up that, you know that. I am very busy, but I live in the present. I have lot of stress, I live in the present. I am mindful of the stress. I like pasta, now mindful eating. No, you have to examine. I'm not saying anything. So when you scrutinize and screen on the basis of discernment and dispassion, you realize that is the problem. And the problem is my confusion. Remove the confusion, you see the meditation is always successful. So let us start our practice again with happy self and unhappy self. That choice is yours. So again, pick up, body is steady. This is what the advanced meditation, body is steady. The moment I say to you, the simple instruction is given, the mind is extraordinarily aware, it aligns and adjusts. Comfort returns. Where? It is already there, it returns in the field of awareness. Did I push you that you have to sit in this posture or that posture? So once we move into the next series, what the seeker do, then we will talk about these specific position and posture. So body is steady. Do you remember the second? The mind is looking inside with eyes closed gently. How long it takes you to keep your body steady. The mind is aware within, and the eyes are not squeezed but gently closed. And now at the fourth step, Namaste Mudra, mental Namaste Mudra, and you are aware of 5 sense organs. You cannot take me outside at this moment. Motor organs, you cannot put me to any activity now. Do you know who puts this? Behavior. And then we claim I had lot of thoughts, I could not sit steady. Do you see? Relate behavior with the movement of the body, visiting during the practice. So now you are not enforcing a discipline on the body. You are so much casual, natural, easy-going. When you are in dispassion, it is always an easy-going. So you see the Namaste Mudra. You are aware, 5 sense organs. If it is going and picking up an object, you leave it. Not my cup of tea. And in that field of awareness, the body remains naturally steady, comfortable. And then the mind looks into the space between the palms. Oh, that is the nature of the mind. And there, we just remind ourselves that real self is self-existent, self-evident, self-luminous. So when we say self-existent, it also means all-pervading, like the space. No barrier of home or office or highways or city or county or a country or the earth, planet or solar system or galaxy. Space. So in order to change that behavior, we do it with a feeling. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Let there be well-being for all. You see, the mind is absorbed in the well-being of all. What it means? You break the notion of being an individual seeking well-being. That is a typical behavior in the mind. Since the animal being came on the earth with the 4 instincts. We are going little deeper. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. May there be peace for all. I'm going to change the practice. Let us wait. Shantir bhavatu. Shanti means peace. I think you remember the peace is a good space. Our masters say that this peace has a shape. It is a space. It is an infinite space. It is a good space. Good space means nothing contains there. So that the consciousness reveals its nature in the mind. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all, including me. When I have a knowledge that I am complete in myself, will I do any karma, any action? Think of it. Contemplate and reflect. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. A sense of completeness. Is it both discernment and dispassion? Why I should be attached and detached to anyone when I am complete in myself? I will move with love and affection to everyone. Like the space. You build a house, space accepts it. You demolish it, the space accepts it. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Mangalam, let there be a spaciousness in all. Means what? Now can you relate it to your happy self? These Shanti mantras are the beginning of the great text known as Upanishads. And Upanishads are the cream of the wisdom. Now being comfortable, move the mind from all the joints starting from the head and then to the toes and experiencing sensation, comfort and steadiness. Very good. Sensation, comfort and steadiness. Then the space. Then again the Namaste Mudra. You are repeating it in order to help the mind to give a choice which one is better, to continue with the same behavior again and again, days after days, or to live in a different state. So one day what will happen? You will continue to live in that state forever. Let us follow the Nyasa in 4 and 5 point of awareness. Look at the breath. You should be changing the steps so that the mind is so much obsessed with its behavior to create a habit. The habit is not meditation. So look at the breath. Breath is going in and out. Make your breath little deeper. I'm saying not very deep, not very slow. Now understand whatever Master Patanjali says. We will apply that. If you have a very deep breathing, the mind says I'm at unease. And if you are doing very little with the breath, the mind will say, I'm sleeping. Find out the niche. Breathe deep, silent, and slow. Another point that I said, it should be silent. Why? We are moving the mind on the breath to bring about a change. So your deep silent slow breath is your car. Mind is the driver. The intellect is sitting there who knows the destination, Om Shanti, and the highway is the space inside. So what we do? It is play of awareness and attention. As you inhale, move the mind inside the right arm from the shoulder to the fingertips in the space inside, that is the highway. Saying mentally, singing mentally, Om Shanti. Om is the real self, Shanti, peace. And as you exhale, move the mind from the fingertips to the shoulder. The role of the previous steps, the body is steady, comfortable, mind is facing within. All the experiences of the previous steps supporting this step. Continue. Yes, the mind says, I have done this. Let your knowledge, discernment clear the doubt. Mind, continue doing it until told to change. So that way you create a dispassion in the mind which is running after its well known thoughts, feeling. What will happen? It will keep everything in a right direction. Or you may say, I'm searching happy self within me. Nothing to do with unhappy self. Any thought that comes, it has to do with unhappy self. Any thought that springs into your mind, unwanted, but if you create a thought, Om Shanti, that will take you to. So understand, be very clear. I told you, understanding, dispassion, practice takes you deeper. Now moving the mind inside the left arm. Same way. First point of awareness, deep silence, slow breathing. Second point of awareness, as the breath goes in and out, mind moves inside the left arm. Third point of awareness is all we drop, Om Shanti. Fourth point of awareness, it's all about awareness. That the body remains steady, not distracted, and if it is distracted, knowledge, the intellect returns. No, it has to, no, I'm finding the happy self. It is always within me. It is very clear. It's a non-verbal understanding. And now inside the right leg, same points of awareness. Do you see that when I say point of awareness means it is effortless, it is natural. When the mind makes an effort, the first thing that it looks at the behavior, memory. What a beauty! You all are doing so well. You will understand, I would say, through your experience, the meaning of absorption, maintaining your awareness. Now inside the left leg. You have already understood that we are doing this practice for an extended period of time to check if the mind is holding on its awareness to this step. What it indicates a success, a progress. Simple way to understand, to evolve. When we move the mind within for an extended period of time, the mind, through its past impression, triggers. Oh, I have done enough. Then what happens? Mind says, create a habit. I will do it. My meditation is not a habit. Now inside the spine, same 4-point awareness, moving the mind from the crown of the head to the spine, reaching to the tailbone. Om Shanti. Rising up. Om Shanti. Also check, the mind is drifting, but what keeps you holding on to these 4 points? It is your discernment and dispassion. I believe you understand. Absence of dispassion, I told you, leads to uncomfort, unease, unhappy self. So when the mind returns to that habit during meditation, first the mind returns, absence of dispassion in the mind, and then mind returns to its old habit, then mind is wandering, and then the same mind is complaining and blaming. Or taking an excuse that this step outside I have done helps me. Very subtle understanding. But what helps? Discernment and dispassion, DD, D square. Leave the breath, allow it to flow naturally, but continue to drop Om Shanti either inside the head or the heart. Now even leave the dependence on Om Shanti, do nothing. You are aware when you do nothing, still you exist, and that you is real self. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. As you know, we returned in a specific way and we share our experience. First, bring the mind on the right hand. Bring your mind on the left hand. Gently raise both your palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms and ask yourself where you are, what is your experience, and bring the hands down. How are you, David and Jerry?
It was a different meditation for myself, and perhaps Jerry, because our dog hasn't been trained in the aspects of dispassion for the gardener. So he was very disruptive, but it actually turned it into a different opportunity for me that I didn't hear a word you said for a big chunk of it, I think.
Beautiful.
Because I was being dispassionate to his barking. But what I did notice when it sort of subsided is that my body was so relaxed, I felt like, gosh, I'm going to fall over. So it was different.
It was different. Wonderful. Yes, we are learning the power of dispassion. How are you, Jerry?
So yeah, it was interesting. Initially, when I closed the eyes, I was in the space, and with the first body scan, I was aware that the body was really relaxed. Sometimes when we go through the scan, I'll notice that I'm holding tension somewhere and then let it go, but the body was completely relaxed. And then, yeah, when Stone started barking, I was aware again that I'm in the space, but the mind was going out of the space and in the space, back out of the space and in the space. But I was just in the space watching the mind.
Yeah.
And then the mind will pull us to maybe do something. And then that's and then I was, applying it to life, where if we have the decision to do or not to do, if we take all the passion and emotion out of it, the decision is really clear.
That's very good. We all have one Stone with us. Stone is the name of Jerry's dog. Find out what is that Stone is. And then understand. See the dispassion. You maintain your awareness. Mind is pulling you. You return. Pulling you. Return. Nothing is going to happen even if he continues barking or he stops barking, to my mind. Did you get it? That is what the dispassion is. Ashok, did you understand? Okay. Brandy, how are you?
I have lots of stones in my life, but I had a really good meditation today. It was quiet and focused and peaceful, but I did have to make that decision at the beginning just to be in it a couple of times. I had to come back, like, this is what we're doing right now.
Good.
And
Good.
it's good, thanks.
Good practice, but you also recognize there are many stones in your life. You need only dispassion. And it happens in the head inside. It doesn't happen outside. Are you getting it? That is the power. How are you, Lara?
I also had Stone, but I had Barry and Eleanor hanging out and calling my attention today. It was really funny. Right when we started, they come in and they're like, "We want your arms."
I saw.
And so, I'm trying to negotiate that. And then I also recognize that I have a lot of fatigue right now. And I was like, I was in it, but I also feel like I was drifting off into sleep. I was having trouble holding my body up in this position. I thought about maybe laying down at the beginning, but I did not. And so I just stayed with it and listened as I could.
So feeling of sleepiness is also one stone. That is how we have to recognize.
I worked. I've worked like 16 hours the past 3 days.
You are busy.
And I got home at midnight last night and started at 7 this morning. So I'm tired, physically. Like it's just. I know that it's energy, but it's like I've expended so much and haven't been able to get back.
I'm giving you what I can say. You can rephrase it. The moment you return home, did your mind say, "Let me practice meditation"? Do it. You will see the change. How are you, Stephen?
My meditation was pretty much effortless. I was in a dark, quiet space with just myself and your voice. And the only effort that came out of the meditation was me trying to get my hands to my eyes. I didn't want to leave the meditation.
Beautiful. Yeah. I see you that it was difficult for you to come out from the meditation. That is beautiful. How are you, Barbara?
I too had a stone moment today.
Oh.
Because as soon as meditation started, my phone started ringing.
Yeah, that is another
And so it took me a little bit longer to get into the meditation. But once I did, it was so peaceful and wonderful, and I didn't want it to end.
Beautiful. Now see that with that example, let the power of discernment in the intellect should reflect. Is the phone really grabbing my attention? Is phone an individual? Or I am being pulled? Who is pulling me? Mind. Do you understand that point?
Yes.
So mind, a set of behavior. Stone is barking, let me pay attention. Phone is ringing, let me pay attention. That has become the habit of the mind. And what works? Dispassion, beautiful narration. How are you, Vaibhav? Oh, my picture keeps changing, that is the Google Hangout. Yes.
So I'm calm, relaxed. It's like that when I'm doing the practice, whenever the mental talk starts, so I feel that I'm more comfortable with that talk, or I'm comfortable with the practice that I'm doing. And
Good.
then it says that the practice is, I'm comfortable with the practice I'm doing, so let's continue with the practice. Why to focus on that top? And then come back to practice, and it was very relaxed.
Yes. Yeah. You see that's how you get rid of the stone. Understand this. When you have a clear understanding, when you live into that awareness, it changes everything. So we have Antoinette, and then I'll come to, yeah.
My body immediately in the assessment, I was very relaxed, and I was just falling into a deep relaxation. But the change in the pattern made me, I had to struggle with that, but was able to work past that and get more comfortable and began to relax more.
Good, good. That's another way to understand the dispassion. Previously it was, now after that it was not. How are you, Christina?
Well, thank you for that guided meditation. I finally has clicked the dispassion with the discernment, and throughout my entire meditation, it was just all the aha or the yay moments of, okay, let this thought come, and now I'm not in the moment so I need discernment of knowing. It just all made sense. So
Yes.
I'm understand the gap is now coming closer. So
Good. Good, good, good. That is what we need in our life. Wonderful. How are you, Sam?
I'm really good. I guess interesting comparison, because this morning when I woke up, I did the practice from Monday again, and I'm very used to it. And I remembered you talking about a rising in consciousness versus a falling in consciousness. I definitely noticed in the one this morning earlier that I continue to rise in the consciousness up in the headspace with the breathing and everything like that. This one was a lot deeper and more relaxing, and at times harder to follow your voice, but both the same practice.
Beautiful.
So they're both good, just a little different.
Beautiful. That's a good. Yeah, something come up into my mind, rise and fall of kindness. That I'll talk later. How are you, Ashok?
I am good, sir. Applying discernment and dispassion.
Yes. At home.
At home, yes.
Yeah. Outside also.
Outside also.
He knows what I'm saying. That is between me and him.
24/7. Thank you so much.
How are you, Sangeeta?
सर वैसे ही बहुत पीसफुल है, और सर मंत्रों से मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. मंत्र करते हैं.
Yeah, she likes and gets absorbed by chanting the mantra mentally. And she said that she is already peaceful and going in deeper into the peace. You see, pointing to everyone, but also to Lara, to a specific question, and keep in your head all the time, the fatigue is fallen consciousness. That is our definition in yoga. And peace is rise in consciousness. So when I remember this, and what makes me rise in consciousness? That is related to passion. Come to me at 12 midnight. Or take another example. I have to catch a flight at 3 a.m. I sleep at 12. I maintain my awareness because of excitement. It's our common experience. So something within me do not allow me to fall into consciousness. So when we live into rising consciousness, we experience, it is a fact, when I work for 12 hours, you feel tired at the physical level, but something within you remains awake, keeps you separate from the fatigue at the mental level. Remember, fatigue at the physical level is a fact. We should take care. But there is a dissociation, dispassion. And I have seen my Guruji used to speak for 5-6 hours, but still have the same glow. Never felt tired. Any question before we...
Sam will ask
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, Sam.
So, I had a thought on Monday after the practice, and I guess the question regarding fatigue is, how do we not become attached to the practice in a way that we think that the only way to refresh ourselves from fatigue is to have a 30-minute practice? Because that's not always possible. So what I've been trying to do is just accept the times when I feel fatigued and not do an activity that would make me more fatigued, like go run.
And apply
Maybe read a
discernment
book.
and dispassion at that moment. Ask the mind, where you are feeling the fatigue. What is that tiredness? Maintain your awareness. And the moment you will see that you rise in consciousness. I know, Sam, you love me. You are sleeping and I knock the door at the midnight. What happens? Will you say, no, don't disturb me, I'm sleeping? Because you love me. You will never say your sleep is already gone. So what we are saying in dispassion, I think I will not take up, I will take up the 6 treasures from the next session, but I'm just explaining you. Attachment or detachment to the things including the body outside, you drop it and now you are attaching yourself to the real self. So that attachment helps you to rise in consciousness even if you don't do 30 minutes of the practice. Did you get it? Does that make a sense to you? So we have to get rid of, no, I should not say we should get rid of the stones. We should get rid of the passion in the stones. And the greatest passion is, I am the body. Hence I am tired. Now see. So now I maintain an awareness, I am not the body. Think what happens. That is why our Guruji used to say, Ashok, Sangeeta, you might have heard many a time.
Are man shant rahe.
Yes. It's a very good phrase my master used to say. O mind, be at peace, this will also pass. What will pass? Fatigue has come, it will go. Stone has come, stone will go. Problem has come, problem will go. Suffering has come, suffering will go. O mind, be at peace. This will also pass. We will not pass, this will also pass. The stone will pass. So that will help you. The last point is also worth understanding. what the Sam pointed out, that 30-minute practice will not be required in the future if we become a seeker, because that state of meditation is present during the entire waking state. Yes, you see that Brandy reminded me. How are you, Terry? I also forget. Mind is crazy. We don't rely on the mind. How are you, Terry?
I had a very good experience up until we started the Nyasa, and then I couldn't keep my car on the highway. It was just going all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's okay. It's okay. I like that explanation.
Really good.
Yeah, that is what happens. So if it is not there, let me bring it back. How I bring it back? By discernment and dispassion. So simple. Discernment and dispassion. And once you bring it, so we will continue to understand this discernment and dispassion, but now our topic should be the 6 treasures, how to get rid of those past impressions. That is all for today. Anything more? That is good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. हाँ जी, ठीक ठाक है.